Good day and welcome to CEO Port Elizabeth. My name is Daniel van der Merwe and today we'll be talking about the topic unfair discrimination, more specifically equal work for equal pay in the workplace. Now, unfair discrimination based on equal work for equal pay can be defined as a difference in the terms and conditions of employment for those employees who perform same or similar functions in the workplace, and more specifically those listed grounds as per Section 6.1 of the Employment Equity Act. Furthermore, discrimination, especially discrimination based on equal work for equal pay in the workplace, has been a problem since the beginning of time. The most common forms of discrimination are obviously based on race, ethnic origin, or social origin. Fortunately, rules and legislation have been introduced to curb this problem, and more specifically in South Africa, the Employment Equity Act has been introduced to help solve this problem in the workplace. We will talk a bit further on this topic as we go along. In South Africa, the Employment Equity Amendment Act came into force in 2014. The Amendment Act sought to introduce new rules and regulations, as well as amendments to the previous Employment Equity Act of 1998. The Amendment Act further sought to promote fair treatment of all employees in the workplace. Over and above the introduction of the Amendment Act, the Department of Labour in 2015 issued a Code of Good Practice, which also outlines for employers how to deal with equal work for equal pay in the workplace and how to treat all employees the same in this manner. In an instance where an employee feels aggrieved where they are not receiving equal pay for equal work or equal pay for similar work compared to another employee, there are two instances when an employee may approach the CCMA. The first instance is when a particular employee earns below the threshold as determined by the Basic Conditions of Employment Act. The second instance is whereby there's a written agreement between employees and an employer which entitles or enables the employee to approach the CCMA for relief. In the event that an employee approaches the CCMA for relief where there's an alleged instance of unfair discrimination based on equal work for equal pay, there are two outcomes which a commissioner may give to an employee in these scenarios. The first outcome is that if it's found that there is indeed unfair discrimination, the commissioner may award compensation or damages to the employee. The second potential outcome is that a commissioner may order that the discrimination which exists in the workplace be rectified and that an employer puts in place mechanisms or systems so as to avoid this in future. Section 6.1 of the Employment Equity Amendment Act lists grounds which qualify as unfair discrimination in the workplace. The Act, however, also prescribes grounds or instances where discrimination is in fact justified in the workplace. One such scenario is when there is affirmative action. The second such scenario is when discrimination is based on an inherent job requirement of that particular job. In conclusion, and to avoid a scenario whereby employers are sitting with the situation of employees alleging unfair discrimination based on equal work for equal pay, it's very important for employers to constantly perform performance reviews with their employees, communicate openly with their employees, and to address all grievances and issues that are perhaps raised by employees regarding this topic. If, however, there is a scenario where such an instance arises, please contact your nearest CEO office and we will gladly assist and help you through all the steps at the CCMA.